The idealist archetype motivates optimism, gratitude, and faith in oneself and in life. The active, energized idealist within has a winning kind of innocence, retaining the sweet quality of little children who are full of wonder and awe in response to this amazing world. The retention of these youthful qualities makes idealists naturally spontaneous, unself-conscious, and authentic. However, because childlike behaviors also include whining, tantrums, and self-centeredness, the inner idealist typically is reinvented in adult life, becoming a trustworthy, optimistic, responsible individual. Such adults always strive to live in keeping with their values, remain true to their faith, and embody their ideals. The idealist tends to notice what is good, trustworthy, and meritorious in the world, while welcoming possibilities and options. However, idealists also may be oblivious to dangers that threaten, problems that already exist, or how hard life is for others. They also may have a difficult time recognizing their own limitations or unconscious dependency. Preferred idealist settings offer ease, comfort, predictability, and safety, as well as people who can help and provide guidance when needed. Idealists also prefer places where most people act in ways that are consistent with the idealist's own values and beliefs, often ones that are wholesome and healthy. In addition, they may appreciate surroundings that encourage risk-taking in service of a dream, shared or individual, and that reinforce confidence that things generally will turn out just fine. When the idealist's beliefs are not widely shared, however, the inner idealist may prefer to live in retreat with a few like-minded others, perhaps even repudiating the larger group. Idealist plotlines can begin with a thought that activates recurring, habitual, optimistic patterns. When something happens of more import, the idealist hero will immediately make sure that the first plotline that emerges in consciousness tells a positive story, and if it does not, will reframe it to be more hopeful. Typical plot actions might be guided by variations on reacting in one's usual time-tested ways, getting advice from respected authorities about approaches that have worked before, obsessing, reflecting, analyzing, praying, and/or meditating to identify the right thing to do, acting on that right thing, and possibly also the next right thing after that. And if none of those options work, following the guidance to try again. Optimism also reinforces an expectation that secondary characters will show up to help, as will luck, serendipitous events, or divine aid. Plotline conflict often involves an antagonist, and the choices between convincing or changing that person, or deciding that the other person is wrong or even bad, and is to be avoided, shunned, or punished in order to change. The inner antagonist takes the form of doubt, which idealists may battle internally throughout life unless greater authenticity replaces opinions or faith as a primary locus of identity. The climax of the story likely entails disillusionment, which, as a turning point, reveals illusions that can be shed. Underneath, however, the inner child often retains vulnerability, and thus can easily become disillusioned and unmoored when faced with the uglier side of human behavior, especially when it is displayed in trusted others. Therefore, another inner challenge needs to be overcome, so that the idealist will not be overwhelmed by the messiness of life and retreat to denial, which can take the form of simply staying busy and distracted much of the time. Happy endings and processes for an idealist, especially when one is blue, are prompted by shifting attention to something good that is happening in the present or will occur in the future, and having gratitude for both. Taking action to make dreams come true can trigger a pleasurable flow process. At the end of a day, a life chapter, or an entire life, idealists feel fulfilled and happy when a dream comes true or when they know that they have become a better person. To avoid unhappy endings, idealists must learn not to underestimate difficulties, not to unconsciously depend on the help of the wrong people, and not to retreat into denial rather than face real problems head-on. Idealist attitudes and activities encourage the belief that people should be good, positive, trusting, and optimistic. They also should reframe negativity and practice gratitude, mindfulness, and future visioning activities that idealists enjoy. Other encouraged behaviors include cheering people up when they are down, reminding people of the goodness and rightness of shared beliefs and actions, and making rules and expectations clear so that they will be followed. Idealist leadership strengths include being a moral example, recognizing opportunities, applying both traditional and state-of-the-art approaches to solving problems, remaining upbeat, practicing values-based means of success, and modeling integrity, persistence, and resilience. Idealist leaders have faith that all will end well, and they inspire people to dream big. Responses to an idealist include appreciation for anyone who demonstrates such a hopeful and upbeat approach to life and gratitude from those who count on idealists to cheer them up or provide inspiration for living a principled life. Conversely, some may view idealists as naive, dependent, in denial about life's realities, or smug and self-satisfied. Others may feel drawn to protect and help idealists, while still others may see them as an easy mark. Starting out, the innocent, sweet, spontaneous child trusts adults to impart wisdom and provide care. Rule-following and generally compliant idealists of school age willingly engage in activities that are regarded as wholesome and appropriate for them, even through adolescence. Adulting idealists focus on learning the rules and the ropes in order to be successful and good people, avoiding bad influences while seeking to remain positive and helpful to others. They also appreciate guidance from respected authorities and expect that it will be provided. Idealists can become disillusioned with others, with social structures, and even with themselves if they do not live up to their ideals. This can lead them to feel that they can never measure up or discern whom or what to trust. As a result, unless they lower their expectations, they may experience despair. The solution is to content themselves with a standard that, although it might not guarantee perfection, is at least good enough and wise enough to ensure safety. In maturity, idealists often give up on their belief that life should be one way. At this point, they can find happiness just being a positive influence, living by their own values and being good role models, while also allowing for human imperfection, including their own. As idealists grow older, they often choose to live simply and to be grateful for whatever they have, while continuing to have faith in life, others, and/or the divine. Overall, levels of the idealist's development begin with simplistic and naive visions about how the world should be, how people should behave, and how one's dreams can be realized. These beliefs may be reinforced by dogmatic opinions that can be so divorced from reality as to be problematic when harsh truths have to be faced. At the next more mature level, the idealist allows for greater acceptance of imperfection and ambiguity, along with appreciation for all that is good in the world, in others, and in oneself. Along with this can come a positive desire to become a morally inspiring role model. Ultimately, when idealists attain a greater sense of realism about the world, others, and themselves, their commitment to an ideal becomes more important than the end point of achieving it, and they relinquish their judgment of others who do not share their views. When balanced with the realist, idealists can better tolerate the messiness of the real world and shift from expecting situations to resolve in the positive manner they envisioned to becoming grateful for the silver linings that are a part of life, even when things do not work out exactly the way they desired. Achieving this balance also can help idealists accept their flawed humanity, as well as everyone else's, and hence forgive both themselves and others for their mistakes, and even the harm they may have done. Because of the importance of the idealist-realist polarity, at some point, when idealists are faced with a reality that cannot simply be reframed, the realist archetype is likely to be welcomed and awakened.